Serpent, Scion by Orphan Account. Read by Kaiinbed. Archive warnings include graphic depictions of violence. Additional texts include Parseltongue, Snakes, Dark Harry Potter, Evil Albus Dumbledore, Badass Harry Potter, Hurt Severus Snape, Good Severus Snape, and Hurt Comfort. Summary. The time has come. Harry Potter, the prophesied chosen one, turns 11 years old. It's time for Albus Dumbledore to become his savior, who takes him away from his abusive, neglecting relatives and introduces him to the wizarding world. But there is one small problem. Dumbledore's whole plan is falling apart when it turns out that Harry Potter doesn't need a savior. He had been given out by his relatives the very day Dumbledore put him on their doorstep. Now he lives in the gaunt shack with his foster father. He is a well-trained wizard. He doesn't intend to go to Hogwarts. He speaks only Parseltongue. He is aggressive towards any uninvited stranger. Dumbledore is an uninvited stranger. Chapter 1. Prologue. Summary. A villain is just a victim whose story has not been told. Chris Colfer. November 1st, 1981.
Petunia, I don't understand why it has to be an orphanage in London. Both fuel and our time cost money, while we could have just picked an orphanage in Surrey.
Petunia, anxious and uptight, hisses at her husband.
Vernon, they would find out. They would find us. You have read the letter. You have seen those people. I know perfectly well what they're capable of. We are going to be safer leaving the boy in London. There's plenty of orphanages there. It's more anonymous. It'll be harder for them to find out about our disobedience.
Vernon snorts.
Disobedience? We don't have any reason to obey those people. We cannot let them intimidate us, Petunia. Besides, it'd be stupid on their part to expect us to raise a freaky child of your loathsome sister. Aren't the freaks supposed to grow up amongst their own? Aren't there any orphanages for freaks of some sort?
Petunia shakes her head. I don't think they have such facilities. Their world is pretty crude. From all I've learned, their development ended somewhere around the Middle Ages. They don't even know how to use a phone, a microwave oven, or a computer.
Bunch of savages, Vernon growls. And they still dare to order us around.
Pull over here. Petunia indicates a nice brick old-fashioned building at the end of a road. Vernon stops his Vauxhall in front of the entrance. Petunia looks back at the two sleeping baby boys on the back seat.
It looks decent,
Vernon states, eyeing the building with a signboard, Wool Orphanage.
An old facility in a decent district, clean front yard.
It'll be good, Petunia decides, stepping out of the car. She opens the back and pulls out baby Harry. The orphanage looks clean and neat also from the inside. Vernon and Petunia are welcomed by a young woman in her early 30s. Good evening. My name's Veronica Cole. How can I help you?
Good evening.
Petunia and Vernon Dursley. Petunia introduces them. My sister and her husband both died in a car crash yesterday. They had orphaned their 1-year-old son, who's been brought to our doorstep a couple of hours ago by my sister's acquaintances. They wanted us to raise the boy, but I'm afraid we are unable to. The young woman looks at baby Harry. And may I ask, what is the reason of your inability to raise your nephew, ma'am? Are you and your husband incapable financially? Vernon snorts loudly. Vernon, please. Petunia hisses. No, Miss Cole. I'll be honest and transparent here. We have the financial capability as well as decent arrangements to raise this child. The reason is different. Me and my sister, we're not close, to put it mildly. I'm afraid I just couldn't take care of her son without feeling aversion towards him. I see, Miss Cole answers flatly. In that case, I'll ask you leave the baby in the nursery room and follow me to the office to fill in all the formal forms. Petunia feels relieved, laying Harry in a crib. in a clean room full of sleeping babies. August 2nd, 1983. Grandmother, it's happening again. Imelda Cole looks at her granddaughter over her newspaper. Look out the window on the backyard, Veronica Cole says beggingly. The old woman, Imelda, stands up with a loud sigh and slowly approaches a large window in her room. Orphanage's backyard consists of a playfield for children and a small garden where Veronica grows her flowers and vegetables. Today, as usual in case of nice weather, the playfield is occupied with a bunch of running, yelling kids. A couple of quiet ones sit on the mound under the oak tree. One child stands out from the group. 3-year-old Harry Potter kneels alone in the garden patches, with his thick black hair glowing in the full sun. The elderly woman rolls her eyes. He likes to play alone, Veronica. So what? She growls. No, grandmother, take a closer look. The younger woman urges, handing Imelda her glasses. The old woman puts her glasses on and gasps. The boy is not alone at all. 2 thick, glittering snakes wither around him. Harry looks calm and relaxed. He gesticulates his small hands, seeming to be saying something to the snakes. Imelda Cole gasps out a couple swear words that make her granddaughter's eyes widen. Does that happen a lot? The old woman mutters. Yes, grandmother, since last month, at least once a few days. Veronica answers. I remember your stories from the old times, when such things were happening. That's why I'm drawing your attention to that. Old Mrs. Cole swears again. Pour me a glass of Scottish whiskey, Veronica, she orders, indicating a bottle on her night drawer. When her granddaughter obeys, she goes on. I had only one such case in the past, girl, but you must know that it didn't turn out well for our orphanage. It resulted in tragedy. Veronica waits until her grandmother empties the glass. A boy who spoke to snakes. Yes, I remember him so vividly. The worst nightmare this place had ever faced. Pour me another glass, Veronica. Grandmother, I want to hear the story, the young woman protests, clenching her fingers on the bottle. Stories don't like to be dry, the old woman snarls. Veronica sighs and pours her grandmother another glass of alcohol. Tom, the most mysterious ward our orphanage had ever accepted. Imelda continues, having emptied the glass. A bully, but never caught on anything red-handed. Everything I know is that every single of his encounters with other children had left those kids different, scarred, traumatized. She makes a pause to sigh. My glass is empty, Veronica, she notices. The young woman rolls her eyes and pours another glass of whiskey. Imelda empties it in one gulp. He cannot stay here, the old woman concludes. What? Veronica asks, confused. The boy, Imelda growls, indicating the window. You must get rid of him. How? What exactly am I supposed to do with him? The young woman asks. I don't care, but he cannot stay, Imelda snaps. He has to leave this place as soon as possible. I won't just throw a 3-year-old away to live on the streets, grandmother, Veronica answers, outraged. We can put him forward on our adoption list and encourage the potential foster parents to get interested in him, but that's all. That process can take months, if not years, Imelda snorts. You cannot be so reckless to expose other children to this boy's presence, Veronica. If you won't get rid of him fast, I will take care of him personally. Veronica frowns. I'm not throwing him away. That's inhumane. Besides, Harry is not a bully. You didn't catch him on bullying. That doesn't mean that he isn't one, the elderly woman answers. I told you, he's one of this kind, Veronica. His presence here is going to bring us trouble. I regret even coming to you with this, grandmother, Veronica snaps. Stay away from this case. I'll take care of making Harry a more well-adjusted child. Imelda shrugs her shoulders. You will see for yourself, girl. I'm standing with my opinion. Veronica puts the bottle of whiskey back on the night drawer and storms out the room, slamming the door behind. Imelda grabs the bottle greedily just after her granddaughter leaves. So,
You say you don't remember your parents, young speaker.
The raven-haired boy in thick round glasses shake his shaggy head.
I only know they died in a car crash, he hisses. If you are a speaker, they most likely were speakers themselves.
A glittery, squiggly adder says,
That means that they had to be one of our folks. Magical folks. I've already been told by the grass snake that I'm magical, the boy answers. But not all magical people are speakers, are they? No, it's a rare gift, a very precious gift. I know only one other speaker, but he is in Azkaban now. Azkaban?
The boy repeats.
A prison for magical folks.
Adder answers.
But hopefully, the other speaker is going to leave Azkaban soon. Then maybe he could take you away from here, away from these smuggles. Take me away,
the boy asks with hope in his voice. A light-scaled grass snake crawls up, joining the conversation.
You don't like it here, do you, young speaker?
Harry nods.
That's because you don't belong here at all,
Grass Snake declares.
Your place is in the magical world amongst magical folks,
Adder adds.
And the other speaker is definitely one of your relatives. Relatives?
Harry asks, confused.
That means that the two of you are family,
Grass Snake explains.
The ability to speak with the serpent is passed on via blood. I have a family?
Harry's skinny face lights up.
Yes, both of you are speakers, so you two must be related.
Harry opens his mouth to ask more questions about his ancestry, but he feels someone grab his little hand and jerking it powerfully. Scram! Shoo! A high-pitched voice cries, and a wide end of a shovel shatters the ground powerfully in the spot where Adder was just a split second ago. Veronica Cole drags Harry away by his hand and continues striking the patch of soil with the shovel, trying to hit the snake. Adder and Grass Snake start writhing, trying to dodge the attacks, hissing dangerously. Harry feels tears forming in his huge emerald eyes. He runs forward to his guardian and grabs her calf. No, Miss Cole, no! Please, no! He cries desperately. He would like to explain to Miss Cole how harmless Adder and Grass Snake are. He would like to describe the bond he had developed with both serpents. However, throughout his short life, Harry has spent much more time conversing with the snakes than with fellow people. Unlike his ability to speak Parseltongue, his ability to speak English is barely existent. Comparing to other children his age, his English vocabulary is unbelievably poor. Actually, is limited to the words yes, no, and manner words Miss Cole required from all her wards to use, such as good morning, goodbye, please, excuse me, and thank you.
Adder! Grassy! Run away!
Harry hisses desperately to his serpent friends, still pulling Mrs. Cole's calf, trying to drag the woman away from the garden patch. Veronica Cole stops smashing the ground and turns towards Harry with wide eyes. Both snakes take advantage from the opportunity and disappear behind the hedge. Harry, Miss Cole says harshly, I forbid you from playing in the garden patch. From now on, you may only play on the playfield along with other children. No, Harry cries. Please, no, no. Shush it, Veronica mutters and lifts Harry up. Why, a bright boy like you would want to play with snakes. Snakes are dangerous. Snakes have no business being around children. There's so many girls and boys you may make friends with. Let me take you to the playfield. Veronica speaks gently and soothingly, but Harry breaks into tears. Miss Cole, no, please, no, he cries.
Adder and Grass Snake are my friends. Please don't chase them away. Please let me go back to them.
He switches to Parseltongue and feels Miss Cole's muscles stiffen. Harry, her voice turns harsh again. If you want to speak to me, please use human language. Your hissing doesn't impress anybody. It can only put you into trouble.
Harry's crying turns into uncontrollable sobs, fueled by his own helplessness. Veronica carries him to the playfield where other children play in the jungle gym and in a sandbox. Here, the woman says, putting Harry down. Here is the right place for you. Why don't you play with Chris, Gary, or Victor? She indicates 3 boys Harry's age, running around the jungle gym and yelling to each other. She leaves the boy on the playfield and walks away. She sits on a bench to watch the kids from a distance. Much to her disappointment, Harry doesn't approach Chris, Gary, or Victor. He stays as far away from the other children as possible without leaving the playfield. He cowers against the oak tree and curls up, sobbing and waiting for the playtime to be over.